Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. Hope your day is awesome. And today is a fun day because it's a Luminar update day. I said update, not upgrade. So keep in mind an update is also known as a dot release. They're now updating Luminar 3 to 3.1.2. And it's a free update. Updates are free. Upgrades are usually paid. And those involve a whole bunch of new features. An update, which is what we're getting today, is not a whole lot of new features, but there's performance updates and things like that. On the Mac version, there's a new feature called On This Day, which is also available on the Windows version. There are performance and stability increases on both Mac and Windows. On the Mac version, you now have the ability to add the Nick collection plugins, and I think what you'll find, and I have those running as well, I think what you'll find is that as they continue to develop Luminar 3 as a library in the center of your universe, they're going to add support for attaching more and more plugins, right? And I think that just makes sense because if you're using it as your host, you're going to need to be occasionally going elsewhere for other tips or, tricks or fun different things that maybe Luminar doesn't have, or perhaps you just want to do something different, which is something I like to do. I like to experiment. So anyway, that support for the Nick collection plugins is now available in Mac. The note that I got from them did not say it's supported in Windows, so I'm not sure about that. And there's also on the Mac version a faster import from a card. I do not import directly to my library from a card. I don't know why. I always just import directly to my desktop. It's just kind of a, well, actually I do know why. And the reason why is because I'll take it from my desktop into my Luminar library, but then I'll also copy it to my Lightroom library. And then I've got two other hard drives. So I've got multiple drives with copies of my photos on them, which is I think a sound backup strategy. But anyway, I'll copy it from my desktop to my multiple drives, one of which goes into Lightroom, one of which goes into Luminar. And also on Windows, there's another improvement for faster scrolling between your images. And so bottom line is it's mostly about performance and stability increases on both Mac and Windows platforms, plus the On This Day feature in both Mac and Windows. So let's hop into it. I just got back from Seattle. I took a whole bunch of street photos with a couple of prime lenses. And you can see, also went to a marina and had a pretty nice little sunset. I'm going to be working on some of these photos. Haven't gotten to them yet, but you can always find me on Flickr, which you'll see down below. I also have a couple of vlogs I filmed in Seattle. They'll be coming out as soon as I can get them done. But first, you can see already that I'm scrolling through these photos pretty quick. And this is a whole bunch of stuff from Seattle. And as you look down here, I took 564 photos. So that's that. So pretty quick. What I wanted to show you is actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pop over here. So if you haven't updated yet, again, it's a free update to anyone that owns Luminar 3. You can go to About Luminar 3, see which version you have. I'm running 3.1.2, which is the new version. If you haven't yet updated, you can go to the Luminar menu and click Check for Updates, and it'll go do that. And of course, I'm up to date because I'm running the new version. So that's how that works. Now, On This Day is the new, I'll call it a feature. And at first when I read about it, I was like, I mean, really, like, it's not that big a deal. But now that I've had it and looked at it a couple days, basically what it does is it shows you any photos in your library taken on this same date in history. So you can click on that, and I'm going to do the drop-down menu. And with the drop-down menu, you can see I've got, on this day, I've got a total of 863 photos in my library, which, by the way, is now 137,000 photos in my Luminar library. But you can see on this day, I've got 400 I took in 2017 and 463 that I took in 2015. So you can just click on those, and it'll take you to those photos. Okay, so here I am. These are just some photos I took. This is Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You can then just go in and do whatever editing you want to do. I'm going to start by just adding the raw develop filter, and this isn't really an editing tutorial, but I'm going to edit because I can't help it. I'm going to take the highlights down a little bit. You may want to watch the histogram. I open that because I don't really ever open it or talk about it, but it can be a good visual aid or visual guide for how you edit your photos. I may want to bump up the shadows a little bit and maybe add a little bit of clarity. And you can see I went from that to that, which may not be a huge difference to you, but truthfully, photos like this, I don't do a whole lot of creative stylization simply because I mean, that's nature, and nature's pretty awesome, especially places like this are just gorgeous to start. So you can always do the slider before and after to see what difference your edits made, but I like it. I think it looks pretty good. And that was just raw develop. I'm gonna pop back out here, and I'll just scroll down. You can see, again, it scrolls pretty rapidly. Oh yeah, I saw a moose. There's a moose. It's not it's a terrible photo, in fact. I didn't have the right kind of lens. I'll zoom in. A moose and a baby moose, I guess. A calf, I guess would be the word. Anyway, this was in Jackson Hole, so I'm just kind of scrolling. Maybe oh, you know what? I'll do something. I'll take one of these. Let me try this one. So here's something I just want to show you how well you can recover a photo. Thanks to the power of both the filters in Luminar and shooting raw images. So this is a long exposure, and we were in Jackson Hole, and we were just driving, and we went over a bridge, and I saw this creek, and I was like, stop, I want to get some shots. So I didn't want to get out my tripod. I was too lazy. I mean, I kind of get tired of traveling with tripods and stuff. Anyway, I jumped out, and there was a bridge, so I just set my camera on the railing to stabilize it. And I took a series of brackets. I'm just going to use the raw develop, and I'm hoping this works out because I'm just filming this without really knowing it. But what I want to do is take this raw file, and I'm going to take these yeah, it works. I'm taking the highlights all the way down, and look at the water. So once before, that's kind of a blown out mess in the bottom, and the water's lost its texture, way too bright. And now I've got a pretty decent photo out of it. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit of clarity, bump up the contrast a little bit, maybe even take down the exposure, and oops, not up. I'm going to go a little bit bluer. And I mean, look what I was able to do. So here's the before, and there's the after. Now I see a spot there. I always have spots on my lenses. I see a couple of other spots. I think quickly I would add a vignette, and I'm just kind of winging it here, folks. I don't want to say I don't know what I'm doing, because I know how to use the product, but I don't have a plan with this photo. But there you go. That's the power of a raw file. And I think I'm losing my direction on what this video was about, because it was really about the update, and it was going to be short and sweet, but I get all distracted editing, and I just have fun. Anyway, look at that, before and after, single raw file, where here you might say, oh crap, that's blown out, what a waste, I'll delete that. Don't delete, because you might be able to turn it into that, and you know what, I like that. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go to On This Day in 2015 and give that a second to kind of get spun over and into 2015. Now, some of these are previously edited photos because they are a couple of years old. So, you know, you can come down here, and you know what, I might have another one I can edit. Let me see if I can find another one, because I shoot a lot of brackets, as I've told you before, probably countless times. This one's a little bit too bright. I might just do the same thing. Let me go in here, get raw develop, because these are all raw files. I'm in my library where I store raw files. I'm going to pull down the highlights a little bit and up the contrast, pull down the exposure, increase, make it bluer, if you will. And I want to pull up the shadows a little bit. In fact, I'm going to pull the exposure back a tad and add a little bit of clarity. And there we go. I mean, again, a super quick edit. There's the before, there's the after, and the slider. I mean, look at that sky. Look at the amount of detail and what you can see in the sky. And this may not be exactly what Jim would do to the edit. In fact, I think it's a little too blue in the water, so I might pull that back a little bit. But the point is really that you can do a lot. And I think the bigger point was I kind of like the On This Day feature. It's a stroll down memory lane. It's a lot of fun. And I'm having fun with the new Luminar update. I was just going to do a quick highlight reel, and I kind of got off topic, but thank you for watching. If you haven't updated yet, go do so. Luminar 3, check for updates. Get your free update. If you don't have Luminar, I have a link down below that you can get that, and you can use coupon code JIMNIX to save $10 on your purchase of Luminar, and that is an affiliate link and an affiliate code, which means I make a small commission on that, although your price is the same regardless of whether you use my link and my coupon code or not. Actually, in the case of the coupon code, you save $10, so that's a little bit of a benefit. But that was that. I was in Luminar 3 and having fun. Most of my recent videos have been about Luminar Flex. I thought it was high time I got in Luminar 3 and have a little fun. Hope you had fun watching. Thanks for watching, my friends. I'll be back real soon. I'm working on those vlogs. You'll see those as well as a lot of photos. Catch me on Flickr if you haven't yet, and that's where I post my photos. And I'll see you soon, my friends. Have a great day. Take care, and adios.